This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever. Plays no defense. Doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the official NBA Beancast. We've got Michael Porter Jr. advocate Bill Temby.
How's it going?
I'm Karan, what's going on?
And I'm proud right here.
Still don't have Jinx, as the man is in Japan, unfortunately, for all those who love the old head.
I mean,
and his dusty ass takes.
Yeah, and he's,
constantly agreeing with Bill.
Weirdly obscure Lakers takes.
Today we've got just a couple of things on the schedule. We've got just our quick news, we've got our winner and loser, and we're going to have a bit of an extra episode a bit late for you in this week, so look forward to that. To start things off though, Kobe tributes throughout this week.
Like obviously they were gonna come from every team, but I think to the extent that it went, like even the violations, I thought it was wicked. Like I didn't expect that at all.
24 and 8.
Yeah, like I literally just thought I mean it's not simple, but like just tribute videos at the start would have been fine, would have been it. But it was actually insane the length. Literally every team and every player just about went to, like nearly every player in the league was wearing Kobe's or some attire of his, whether it's like an arm sleeve or anything.
Yeah, LeBron did the full Kobe game gear. Like he had the arm sleeve, the leg sleeve.
I really liked what Minnesota did because he overtook
Wiggins,
Michael Jordan there.
Yeah, Wiggins put the ball
and so they put the ball right on the free throw line where he actually got the points that
was really good. Yeah, I think just like all the player reactions just showed like how much he meant to those individual players, but like the game itself. I think it's all been really good.
And then there's been the unofficial retirement of Kobe's number throughout the league.
Yeah, we touched on this in the tribute. Like it's pretty good, but I do also like that some people have said no. Like I want to honor this guy by wearing his number. And yeah, but like I'm for that. I reckon it's really good.
I rate it.
Like wear the number and ball out. That's sick.
Yeah, I mean,
we do that.
Buddy Hield did that. Buddy Hield did that perfectly, right? Like the day after, he said,
"Well, what have we had? We've had 4 50-point games in a row. Yeah. I don't think we'll get one today, but
the league's gone up another level recently. In terms of
that logo lizard boy.
Whew. That dude's something serious.
Still getting heat from Portland. Damn.
But you guys watched the Lakers tribute the whole thing? Or?
Yeah, that was hard to watch. I had to watch it.
That was tough.
I was watching the Milwaukee-Denver game at the same time, and I kind of wanted to not pay attention to it because I knew I'd get emotional, the Lakers tribute, but I had to watch it. Like I thought it was phenomenal, insane. Just every detail of it was just perfect.
LeBron had a great speech too.
LeBron's speech.
Yeah, I really felt bad for him. That would have been the hardest thing he's ever had to do. Just about.
Yeah, so I read somewhere that Kobe and LeBron, they weren't really that tight during their playing careers.
Oh no!
But then recently, since LeBron's joined LA,
towards the end of Kobe's career, I think when Kobe was still competing. As in the Lakers were still competing, he's not friends with anyone.
It's just out of respect. It's
not like friends, but you know what I mean. The big rivalry.
Yeah, but recently, since Kobe's retired, he has a family. LeBron has a family. They've bonded over that recently, and apparently they became really tight just over there.
I felt really bad, just seeing him before the game. I told you he shouldn't have played, but hats off. He being him, he would have thought I have to go out there and play. But for me, I thought it was pretty brutal for him, but hats off. It was amazing effort pre-game.
Played pretty well too.
Charlie Pruth's amazing performance of
See You Again.
That was. I mean, first of all, he's got an amazing voice, and just seeing that live, it was the perfect song for that.
Right yeah, I think like as I said, I think the Lakers, the entire organization, just nailed the entire tribute. Having all of Gianna Bryant's teammates, like front row.
That was classy.
Giving, it's just little
And
things
those
like
two
that.
seats were made empty just with the roses.
Yeah,
on
and
top.
like just like giving everyone free like Kobe jerseys, tops, like all of it, like all those big boards for everyone to write on. Like even the players wrote, like Quinn Cook wrote like a whole paragraph, it was really good.
I really liked the story around Joel Embiid's number, like really short number change, his temporary one.
He wore it for the day, right? Yeah, no, that was good.
The thing is, the Sixers actually have 24 retired for another player named Bobby Jones.
Yeah.
It was like the
Well,
story
he had to get league approval.
Yeah, he had to get legal
because
approval.
of that.
Yeah, he had to call up
because it was
Bobby Jones
retired.
himself and say, "Hey, is it okay if I do this?"
Yeah.
And I really like this. So Bobby Jones has made like a whole bunch of defensive teams. Obviously, Kobe Bryant did as well. Jones was like, if you can wear it, that's fine. But to me, this number is associated with
you got to show up. Yeah, you got to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Joel Embiid completely did that.
I mean, if there is a guy that you'd say you've got to defend if you want to wear this number, Joel Embiid would be up there in the top 5 as one of the guys you'd want.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it was really good that like all these guys were coming out like it just even the little things like Hassan Whiteside even said he yelled Kobe on that fadeaway clincher.
Same with Joel Embiid,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and Joel did obviously too. And that's why I think it'd be really good. Like, let's let these guys wear number 8 and 24. Like, I don't think Kobe would care. Like, I think he'd want it almost. Like,
yeah, I mean, and especially if they're showing us in it. Like, Buddy Hield was like, "No, I'm gonna keep wearing this," and then he just dropped like 42 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
a 40-odd point.
Yeah,
he went off that game.
Yeah, off the bench too. It's a bit of a rabble at the moment, Sacramento, but it's a story. Discussion for another podcast. But, like in general, I think all the tributes were really good, and the Lakers that was phenomenal. I thought so. Really happy, and I think it will just continue. Like in small ways. Like obviously each player has handled it differently and will handle it differently moving forward. But I think all these little like nice touches, like just wearing like an arm sleeve or the shoes, will continue for however knows long.
And also, I don't know if this has been discussed much, but Rob Pelinka was Kobe's agent back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he would have wanted to send Kobe out properly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They definitely did that.
All right. Well, in the past few weeks, we've we've done things where I just basically talk about a certain news topic or introduce the topic.
Yeah.
We'll be doing it a bit differently from now on.
Oh.
Obviously with Kobe's death, we can't really talk about whether a take on it or anything. But with other topics, it's going to be I'm going to introduce the topic and I'm going to ask whether it's a hot take or not.
Okay.
Something about that news topic.
This could be good.
We can see what we think
our whole
about
group chat's just hot take
takes,
city.
exactly.
So unless we're talking about Jaylen Brown.
So okay.
What have we got?
Just a quick one before we jump into the big thing that was announced over this week. Victor Oladipo made his season debut. He dropped 9, 2, and 4 in 20 minutes, just under 21 minutes. You were gonna say?
Yeah, Kaz and I, we've mentioned this a few times to all the guys. Like that injury he had is
one of the worst.
Yeah, like it's underrated in terms of like how like physically hard it is to actually come back from that. And so I think like personally, like my expectations of Devo coming back were not high at all. I think just because the Pacers are in a really good position, like I don't think anybody would have expected them to be. I think they're fifth in the East. I don't think anybody would have expected them to be there, even with the addition of Brogdon and Sabonis playing at an all-star level. So I think like it's tough because I think he will need the rest of the year the rest of the season and more.
And the off-season.
Yeah, I think it will be like we even spoke about this last week about Steph being injured and PG and such to get back by the rule. I do think it will be like PG. It will take him the rest of this season and more to get back to that all-star level that he was at.
Yep.
So
agreed.
despite the fact that he just returned, He
he
nailed the most important shot of the
but
game.
he's got that.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
there's only so many players that do have that. Like,
Hot take or not, Victor Oladipo is a top 3 clutch player in the league.
I think that's
it's
a hot
not.
take.
Oh,
I don't think he is.
You don't think he is?
you don't think he's a top 3?
Nah.
All right, what's your top 3?
Kawhi, Dame. Oh damn, KD's injured. Can't pick him. All right.
In the
Jokic.
league.
Jokic hit the most game winners last 2 years.
that's
He's
good. Yeah.
my number one guy actually. I was thinking shot makers in my head, but Jokic will.
I slept on
He's-
Jokic.
yeah,
It's low key.
He's got the most
Upside
game
down,
winners the
yeah,
last 2 years
Very
by a
thin.
mile. Look it up. It's crazy. We don't have to. I know it's a thing, but yeah. All right, Depot's very close, but yeah, all right. It's a good take, Brady. I think. Yeah, but in my head, there's a few guys better.
It's
But
only a little hot.
Kyrie probably
Okay,
as well.
Okay.
But we haven't. He hasn't had to do it for a minute.
For a minute, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, going back to Deeper's debut. Deeper debut. I like how that sounds.
Rolls off the tongue.
That could be the name of this episode.
Deeper debut.
Depot debut.
Deeper debut and some others. I don't know. Proud
All right, sorry, continue.
Yeah. I mean, no, just watching how he played, it's like he didn't make the wrong play ever. Like even like,
yeah, that's what I said to you. He actually played well. He just
Yeah.
shot poorly.
shot poorly, and I mean, I think he saw what he needed to do. Like for example, if he was splitting a double team, he knew how to do it and he knew when to do it.
Yeah,
But
and you
it
can
was
tell. It's just
like the ball would end up away from him.
Yeah.
When he didn't feel it was supposed to be. Like it would be the right move and everything.
he's just rusty.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
He just hasn't been playing. He just hasn't been playing enough time in game speed. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Once he gets his reps in, get a full off season in as well, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think even if that extra few weeks of the playoffs will help too, because like obviously by then his in terms of minutes managing will probably be lifted. I assume that's a few months down the track. So yeah.
And I think with a player like Depot though, you want to take a long term outlook with his the approach to his treatment.
yeah.
So yeah, you really don't want to risk him getting injured again because he's so
had
good.
Several in the and he's so good both ends.
He's
You
so
don't get
good.
that these days from like you don't get like an all-star on the offense and all
Yeah,
defensive
players like Oladipo don't grow on trees. You definitely want to be careful with him and make sure that he's
Drew
fully good to
Holiday's
go.
the only other one I can think of who's a both way like at that level on both ends sort
As
of
a
thing.
guard, yeah.
Yeah. So all
So
right.
just to make sure we're specific, Oladipo's injury was a ruptured quad tendon in his right knee.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, that's
It's a
a
very
brutal
serious
injury to
injury,
come
Yeah,
back
yeah.
from. I think at the time
real-
they were saying that his knee might even need to be like amputated or something. I don't think that was as far as it went, but there was some reports that were just talking about
just
how
Have you
It
seen?
just
Have you seen the
shows how-
picture of it?
I have not.
We
It
don't
is
want to.
disgusting.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Moving on.
All right. Well, we've got our 2 big topics for the week.
Are these hot
something
takes again, or
I'm not sure hot takes, but well, this is pretty simple. We've got our East and West reserves. I'll just run through them.
yeah.
real
shout
quick.
out Khris Middleton?
My man Jimmy
My
M.
man.
The Bing. We've got for the East, we've got Jason Tatum, Ben Simmons, DeMontis Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, Khris Middleton, the GOAT, Kyle Lowry,
King.
Bam Adebayo. And for the West, we've got Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Russell Westbrook, and Nikola Jokic.
I'm pretty happy. Like overall, pretty happy. But like obviously,
I think
Booker and Beal missing out
Yeah,
is
I think that's a
absurd
bit tight.
somehow. Like looking back on this year, we'll look back and be like,
why wasn't Brad Beal in the
like
All-Star
Brad Beal
team?
is going to average 29 points a game and miss the All-Star game. Devin Booker's going to average 27 and
26,
6 or
yeah.
whatever it is.
I
and
feel like
still-
that's
I think he's doing
Especially-
26 right now. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's especially true given like Trey Young again has made the team.
And this is,
on the last-
I think it was Lou Williams who said it. Like it was just basically like, where like, oh yeah, good stats, like winning games. Like what's the whole idea of this now? Like how do you even get picked, sort of thing.
I think the league's taking a case by case approach because when you look at it, Trey's had an exceptional statistical
Trey
season.
should be there, but then it's like if Devin Booker and Brad Beal aren't making it on the basis of your team hasn't won enough games,
Then
like
why
Trey
is-
shouldn't
yeah,
even be
exactly.
starting. Like he should be in the
Reserves.
you might not make it category. Like he should make it, be from the what they've done with these selections, he should be in that category.
No, agreed.
So yeah, but okay.
Consistency's always been a bit of an like with awards and stuff. It's always been a bit of an issue. I feel. I think it just goes with the territory, especially when you've got a panel of people or people across a broad range of perspectives picking these teams, I think you're probably not going to get 100% consistency.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
But yeah, players like Brad Beal, Devin Booker missing an All-Star game.
Look, all right, if Booker's in the East, I think he makes it unquestionably.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Probably a starter.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because the Suns have a better record.
He's probably a starter. He's probably a starter in the East.
I'd start him over Trey, I reckon. Yeah. Who misses from the West for Booker to get a game?
Easy, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul,
CP3.
yeah.
Chris Paul,
I agree.
yeah.
Possibly Russell Westbrook as well, because
Do
he
you-
started. Because he started the season very slow.
I mean, yes, but at the end of the day, he like
Honestly, I apart from Dame and Jokic, Russ is my next pick in the West. In terms of
Serious?
genuinely, yeah, he's been incredible.
Over LeBron?
No, I'm
you
talking
mean-
the reserves.
Oh, right.
The
Yeah.
reserves,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Not the overall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, mate.
Actually, I
That's
mean,
a hot take.
He's half a shout. He's playing wicked.
I mean, I would say maybe Brandon Ingram as well.
I agree. Because then once again, we're in this whole thing of like, are you in because your stats are good or your team's winning games or a combination of both? Like the Rockets are still like 5th, 6th in the West, and Russ is putting up crazy good numbers. Like, so like obviously he
Yeah, I
should be-
guess the only knock with Russ is, well,
he can't shoot.
yeah, he
threes,
can't shoot.
But,
I guess people are tired of seeing
them
those
middies, though.
monster dunks in the game.
but that's the thing.
No, no one's tired of seeing guards dunk. Ja Morant
Yeah,
throwing
I
down.
feel like
on-
people love seeing guards dunk more than the more.
Then
No one
athletic-
cares about the big.
forwards.
Then
no one cares
Russell
about the big
Westbrook
boys.
100% should be.
Yeah, if those big forwards are driving at the ring, it's probably a dunk. But then it's like you see like Dame's dunk yesterday. That was ridiculous. Like, give me more of that.
But yeah, no, just going on to that.
The
Entertainment that Russ brings to a game like this.
Unmatched.
I mean, yeah,
almost,
he's got past MVPs in the All-Star game, right?
Well, you got back to back.
Yeah,
For sure.
you can't not have that guy in.
Yeah, I agree, and especially this year where I think that it will be competitive. You want Russ out there, definitely. But all right, so I'm happy with Booker over CP3. I think we can all agree. But then who's Beal in for in the East?
Probably, I think the only one you could say him over is Lowry.
Lowry's been good though.
I'll say this about the East reserves. I think there's no one I would replace.
I think the East reserves also as a whole are like just generally a tier below the West reserves.
Yeah, agreed.
Like visibly, just looking at them. Like I mean, there's a few that are obviously like I'd consider.
Actually, I
Elite.
would debate that.
I mean, all right. If you take out Jimmy Butler, Khris, and Ben Simmons, like just about every West reserve, I'm taking ahead of Tatum, Lowry, Bam Adebayo, Sabonis.
You're taking Ingram over Tatum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would.
Easy.
I'm a Celtics fan.
Easy. I mean, like Chris Paul aside, I'm literally taking every West reserve over, apart from those three I mentioned. Yeah, genuinely. Like, if Devin Booker's not making it, like I'm taking Devin Booker over everyone in the East as well.
But again, Booker is arguably a starter in the East.
And this is the whole thing. Like, it needs to, like, we need to if we're changing everything, give us the best 24 players. Like, I don't-
That's what makes the
We've
most sense.
already removed the conference aspect of it.
Yeah,
Like,
why do we have?
At this point, it's literally just
Literally
donation,
just an All-Star game
Yeah.
now. That's literally what it is.
especially given the new rule change, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yeah, all right. I think we can move on. Like, I think everyone agrees Beal and Booker should have made it some way or another.
No argument for Zach LaVine.
No, not for me.
Okay, so I'll say this.
We know you wanted him in.
I always want to mention it because number one, we want to see Zach LaVine in the dunk contest, right?
Yes.
Well, now he's not doing it.
Exactly.
He's come out and said he's not doing it.
He's not doing it because he's not in the All-Star game.
But I don't
that's
care.
his problem.
Yeah, win your team some games. Like it's in your city.
He has.
Okay, all right. We've said this, but it's in your city. I agree. Like it's in Chicago, and I'm sure the league wants a Chicago. Like because generally, if it's in your city, like you're the main guy. Like you're orchestrating the whole thing. Like we've seen in previous years. Like all right, fair call. Like you're bummed you're not in it, but like man, like just do the dunk contest. Like Aaron Gordon said, yeah, like I'm doing it. Like man,
Well, he hasn't won.
yeah, but still.
AG's got something against it.
Yeah.
But everyone wants to see that again, and I think just because you've been quote unquote snubbed from the game. I don't think that's,
and
give us
quite
more.
honestly, I wouldn't take him over any of the East reserves.
Yeah, and he come out and said, I don't think there's 12 better than me. I mean, there was nearly 12 better teams than Chicago for the first month. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue. I don't think that Ryan Lowe would argue that, and he's probably the biggest Bulls fan we know.
Yeah, I mean, he even admitted he was going to be upset that Zach wasn't going to make it, but it wasn't on merit that he should make it. It was more like it would have been cool if he made it.
I think
like a Chicago player in Chicago.
Yeah, which that's why it would have been sick if Derrick Rose made it as well. But that doesn't mean he should make it just on that basis. So
Rose been balling this year too.
He's I think he's on his
Derek.
14th straight 20 plus point
Shout
game.
outs to Derek, the man. All right, move
And
on.
that
I think we've well and truly crunched there.
Well, there's been another massive change to the All-Star game, which is the entire game is different now.
Not a fan at all, personally.
I'll just quickly run through. Well, actually, Billy, you had a great explanation of it.
Yeah, so like I just don't see the point. Like they're resetting the scoreboard every quarter allegedly to 0-0, and then they're trying to win every quarter. I feel like they're trying to make a bigger incentive to win the game. Like, why not just win the game? Like, I don't think it needs to be a quarter-by-quarter thing.
I think what's happening here is that the NBA has seen the interest in the All-Star games kind of dwindling, and they're just trying to offer a fresher product. But they're trying to increase interest in the game by putting this out that they're going to have this wacky scoring system and a crazy way to win the game and stuff like that, just so that maybe more people will tune in throughout the whole game. But I don't think I think if you've got a product like the NBA, you've got great entertainment just through playing the game of basketball. I think that's sufficient. Personally.
I think the idea with this there is that it essentially, it almost like when you go into the fourth quarter, rather than the score being 108 to 103, it's now just a 5-point game. Like, it's a 5-point game either way. But
yeah, but you're right. It's a 5-point game either way. It doesn't matter what the score is, sort of thing. I don't know. I don't really like it. I mean, it doesn't really change anything. But I think everyone would agree. Just compete for longer. Even a half, just the second half. Just go nuts.
Just play the game.
Yeah, just play the game.
I think even a Jinkia would.
I think
disagree
one other
with
thing
the
is
setup.
Yeah, I don't mind the Kobe tribute with this the final 24 onto the score at the end.
Just for this year.
Right? That's what I mean. But that's fine. But Kobe just wants to win the game. Win the game. Who gives a shit about this quarter by quarter thing? I don't like it.
I think another way that they're able to sort of bring back the intensity is that just having fresh faces in there. You see guys like Trae Young, Pascal Siakam, Jason Tatum, even Brandon Ingram. It's their first time there. They're going to want to show out either way.
But this happens every year. There's just about new guys every year. Well, just about.
In the last few years, it's been okay, maybe.
No, all right. This year's probably the first year in a long while that we were gonna have
this many first,
5 or 6 maybe debut All-Stars. But
those guys are going to play super hard compared to what? LeBron James is probably going to coast until the fourth as usual.
But that's what I mean. But it's those big guys playing at the end. It's not the young guys. And that's why I don't think...
In order to make the All-Star game a proper show, I think they're trying to say, okay, if you have time, you actually need to win right now.
Well, they need to make a bigger incentive for it. Doesn't the NFL give? Oh, not on that merit, but it changes who hosts based on what year. The East will host one year, then the West next year in terms of the finals.
Yeah, I think so.
The Super Bowl.
No, that's got nothing to do with the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is completely separate. Which is the Pro Bowl.
I know that. But what I'm saying is this could be an incentive to change.
Oh, true. Yeah, give which team home court.
And then it brings the conference thing back into it. If you want to make having 12 players from each conference relevant,
at least have a reason for it.
Let's make the winning conference host the finals.
Yeah, because
you've got home court advantage if your conference wins the All-Star game.
No, I agree. Because at this point, there really is no reason to have a conference anymore. We just have the 24 best players.
Yeah, and there's no reason to win the game. I mean, once they're on the court, it's, the juices, everything kicks in.
Yeah.
They want to win the game once it's the fourth quarter. But, yeah, I don't know. it's as you said, the All-Star game's just in a weird phase at the moment. I hope it gets better after this year. All right, moving on, we have the Rising Stars game to discuss as well, due to the man Kaza and I love, the 8th overall pick to the New Orleans Pelicans, Jackson with an X, Hayes.
Well, first, I'll go through the teams real quick. Actually, I'll go through the teams quick. The US team has Miles Bridges, Wendell Carter Jr., Devontae Graham, Tyler Herro, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, Kendrick Nunn, Eric Pascal, Trae Young, PJ Washington, and Zion Williamson.
It's a good team. I'm pretty happy with the USA team. Yeah.
The world team has, I'm just going to say Nick Alexander Walker, Nikhil. There's another player for our misspelled names.
Oh, it's right.
No, that's fine.
That's how
I've
his
never
name's
seen
meant to be.
Nikhil.
Okay, well, I have.
RJ Barrett, Brandon Clark, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Rui Hachimura, Svi Mikhailik.
Mike Halick.
Yeah, Mike Halick.
Svi Mike, Josh Okogie, and Mo Wagner.
Yeah, that is quite clearly a much better team.
You reckon the world team's better?
Yeah.
Luka Doncic, man. Luka Doncic.
Right. Luka.
Yeah, Luka will probably play 12 minutes and be the MVP.
The problem for me is that
these are the main guys missing from me. Colin Sexton, Michael Porter Jr., Matisse Thybulle, Sekou Doumbouya, and Kobe White.
Well, according to Jackson Hayes, he's the biggest snub.
Well, and I already said Jackson Hayes getting snubbed. It's not his fault. He's playing 10 minutes a game because the Pels big man is so good.
Derek Favors, he's been huge for them.
I really want to read out.
When Jackson Hayes plays, he does well.
Yeah, he does.
He's
Derek
good.
Favors is huge for them.
Yeah, no, he's the only big vet.
I mean, as soon as he saw the roster, it seems Pelicans, as Jackson Hayes has said, NBA can suck my expletive.
I mean, I wouldn't have mind seeing Brad Beal and Devin Booker say this.
He says, I want the NBA, I want you guys to hear this.
Yeah,
and immediately issued an apology.
Yeah,
man.
Immediately got issued a fine.
Yeah. Do you reckon he'll get the same fine as someone like elbowing another guy in the head?
How much was that?
It'll be 25.
Yeah, it'll be 25, which is a lot for a rookie.
Or
Swearing.
Nikola Jokic saying no homo as well.
Yeah, I mean, the fines don't make sense.
Yeah, we know that. But my whole problem with this, right, is he could easily be in the game because like Trae Young and Luka are playing. We know these guys are stars. They're not rising stars.
They
are stars.
In the All-Star game.
I'd argue even Aiton's playing. He's a star.
He's a star, but again, I would say if there needs to be a rule that's implemented, it needs to be that
borderline.
Not a star, but like you've made yourself known.
Like you're
a
good.
Yeah, you're a good player. Yeah,
all stars cannot be in the rookie.
I agree. I just don't see the point of it.
Otherwise, like what's the point?
Like number one, they'll probably play 10 minutes. Like obviously they'll take the piss in that 10 minutes because they're that much better than everyone else.
Yeah.
But like, what's the point? Like, if they don't play, it just gives two other guys like let's let the league know about like Sekou Doumbouya or Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah,
or
Matisse
Thybulle. That's what I mean. Yeah, like let's let these
because not many people watch the Rising Stars game, but like if you watch it, these guys genuinely compete.
Yeah,
they play hard.
Like if you see someone like Matisse,
he's locking in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I would have liked to see.
I saw a thing of what about increasing the roster to 15? What do you think?
What's the point?
Playing time.
Well, playing time, but also, actual rosters of 15.
Yeah, true. But then
there's always like
the end of bench guys don't play.
Not playing.
Yeah, but it's
you've got guys like Furkan Korkmaz coming in for like a minute at the end of every game, getting an offensive rating of 400.
Yeah, because he doesn't miss. But I don't know. But for the Rising Stars game, I don't know. I wouldn't mind it because I do love the young guys. I think
at that point, it'd be more.
Well, that could be one from every team, just about.
Yeah, but I'm just saying at that point, it'd probably be more about just getting on the roster as opposed to
playing in
playing
the game. Yeah, okay. No, good point. I just thought it'd be interesting. Could be interesting.
Yeah, no, I think there's a definite gap in quality between the world team and the US team as well.
Do you think the world team's better?
Yeah.
Give me that. All right, let's go to the US team. Right, Trae Young, Zion. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but then all right, let's go to the world. Let's go to the world team.
All right, Luka Doncic, hands down the best player out there.
We've got Luka, and we've got Shea.
Should have Colin Sexton too.
On the world team?
That's a massive.
Isn't he
snub.
Canada?
The US. Shouldn't he be from the US team?
I thought
I'm
he'd be
pretty sure he's
Canada.
American, isn't he?
I thought he'd be Canada, but yeah.
But my point was going to be that it just shows you. Oh, and DeAndre Ayton. We're forgetting DeAndre Ayton.
Okay, all right, yeah, I agree. Actually, the world team,
It's way better.
waxing Team USA.
Yeah, it's way better. But like, I think it just goes to show how much the NBA is growing worldwide.
Yeah. Well, it's at an all-time high for players
it is-
from Europe specifically.
That's the thing. It's the first time a Japanese player has made the Rising Stars
That's
game.
really good.
That's crazy.
Rui Hachimura.
That's crazy.
That's really good.
And also, Melbourne is the city that has the most number one draft
Yeah,
picks.
shout out Benny Boy. Shout out Kyrie.
Andrew Burgett.
Shout out
Hey.
Bogut. Man, that's
Country
good.
Gully.
We good.
Yeah, just around the corner from here,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
We good.
I visited his mother over the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bit of a weird Brad.
This is always going to be a problem with like showcase games in the NBA. There's always going to be guys that miss out. Like even as I said, what about we increase the roster size? There'll still be guys that miss out or should feel like that they should have played.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
There's not much you can do about that.
but it is rough because I do think Michael Porter Jr. and Sexton are better than probably 80% of these rosters. So, but yeah, it's pretty brutal to miss. But it's only a Rising Stars game, so
I mean, they also, a lot of those guys, I guess Colin Sexton normal, but he would have, a lot of the other guys have next year to make it anyway.
All right, so
Yeah,
we don't have Jamie Vernon like Joe Rogan does, but Colin Sexton is American. He's from Marietta, Georgia.
why did I think he was Canada? Barrett's
Yeah, Barrett's Canadian.
Yeah, my bad.
I think Nikhil and Shea are both Canadian as well.
Yeah, I know. Shai is.
Yeah, and I think Svi's from Russia.
Okay.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Crane.
All right, let's.
Is it Ukraine? I thought he was Russian.
I haven't
Oh,
read.
he's Ukrainian. There you go.
I haven't read anything about their game changing in terms of the differing scoring and such. So let's hope these boys put on a show. I like all the young guys in the league. So I hope it's good.
These games are usually fun to watch.
Yeah,
too.
I'm gonna watch 100%. All right, let's just have just gonna pop this up so me and Kaz can get one back on Praddy. Rising Stars MVP. Let's all be under the assumption Luka and Trey don't
play that much,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, all right. If either of them are MVP, we'll this
That's
is
nonsense,
relevant. Yeah. All right. Who you got?
Ayton.
Because I remember a few years ago, Bog just lit up,
Just taught.
and he won. So it's very situational.
It's yeah.
I need to see the list. I need to see the list.
Yeah, these games are tough just because you don't really know who's going to pop
like
off.
someone like Tyler Herro could go.
bonkers. Yeah,
Could
I
make
reckon if
6
there's a
threes.
player that has the attitude to do that, it's got to be Tyler Herro. Like, have you, you guys saw that play?
He's uber. He reeks confidence.
He's coming down the court to, late game situation. He could just go for the easy points right there, but he's like, no, I'm going to turn around, dribble back out to the 3-point line on a fast break and shoot the 3.
yeah, it's hard. Could be Jar's a chance.
Ooh.
Ja, not yet.
Jar's a chance.
He makes titles,
All right,
like
fine.
as in like
All right, lock
headlines.
in. Lock in. Who you got?
That's tough. Who you got?
Oh, right, that's the thing. Wendell Carter Jr. isn't playing and he's being replaced by Zion Williamson.
Yeah. All right, Paddy. Who you got?
This is really tough.
It is.
Well,
This is a rare occurrence where it literally could be just about anyone.
I think, because they've got a couple of decent point guards. You've got Devontae Graham, John Morant,
He was gonna be my one, I reckon.
even
Devontae.
Trae Young.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Zion Williamson gets it.
Oh, so cliche.
I mean, it's the easiest lob target in the world.
and he's literally just arguably better and stronger than everyone else out there. So
I
that's
can't
a
wait to
fair
see him
point.
catching a lob like 5 feet above DeAndre Ayton and then yamming it on his head.
I actually agree with you. I think it's probably going to be Zion.
You're gonna go Zion as well. Alright,
I thought Ayton, but then I think Zion.
Aiden will block him, but
The thing is, he's not
he's gotta-
apart from just
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be a
flashy.
show.
Yeah, Aiton's gonna put up like
That's
17
why
and 10.
Yeah, but no one's gonna enjoy watching an 8 and 17
Yeah,
and 10.
little hook shots and such. They'd rather see Zion catch lobs and throw them down. I'm going Devontae Graham.
Oh, yeah.
Just on the, I think he could quite easily pop off and bang 8 or more threes.
Yeah, on the FU3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he shoots so good from like even further out on threes.
He's elite.
Yeah. No, that's a good pick.
Underrated thing with Devontae Graham, he's not been shooting well recently, but he's a really good playmaker.
Yeah, underrated playmaker, that's for sure. All right, there are our picks. So both you, Zion. I'm going Devontae Graham, and because Jinx always agrees with me, Jinx is also going Devontae Graham.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Jinx, I will tell you this after this is finished, so we can't cut in and change.
All right. Well, there's our news for the week. We'll take a short break.
Yeah.
Hey Lookers, just a heads up. The official NBA Beancast is now on Twitter. Follow us at twitter.com/NBA Beancast. You can hit us up with all your questions and tweets, so follow us at twitter.com/NBA Beancast. Now back to the Beancast.
And we're back. Time to talk about winners and losers for the week.
Oh, yeah.
Bill, that was yours for this week, so who have you got?
I have it would have obviously been Utah, but we did them last week. The Denver Nuggets are my winners for the last several weeks. They have lost a few games that they should have won in the last few weeks, but they've been hugely crippled with pretty big injuries.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, their roster.
I couldn't tell you the last time Jamal Murray played a game.
He's been out for 10 games now.
Yeah, Jamal Murray out. But
Paul Millsap's out with no return in sight.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Gary Harris is just in and out the entire time.
Yeah, and those three alone are starters without.
That's
without
60% of their starting lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. So 11-5 in their last 16, hugely crippled, and their schedule the last week specifically has been absolutely horrendous. Prattie's got it here for me, thankfully. They flew from Utah. Sorry, not from Utah. They versed Utah at home. They flew from Denver to Milwaukee. They landed at Milwaukee at 4 a.m. and they had a game against Milwaukee at 8 p.m. the same day.
And they won.
And they won. Yeah, and they won.
beat
And
Milwaukee.
and now I know that they have to go to Detroit or something and play super early because of Super Bowl related scheduling.
It's
fixtures
early
and
for
whatnot.
us. That means it's stupidly early for them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's
But
4:30 in the morning for us, so it'd be like noon.
That's it. Yeah, well,
over
they
there.
get it done before the Super Bowl, so everyone can watch or attend. But yeah, so just quickly, the most probably underrated, underappreciated player in the game today, Nikola Jokic.
I said,
Yeah,
all-star starter.
Yeah,
Should be an all-star starter.
All right, we said this
Yeah,
last
that's-
week.
that's nuts.
But how's this yet again from the big Serbian? 20, 10, and 6.6 a game, and he's only turning it over 3 times a game. I feel like that's insane. And definitely should be in the MVP discussions, in my opinion, given that Denver are second in the West now. And,
and given the litany,
and they'll hunt that 1 seed. They're hunting that 1 seed.
Oh,
and
100%.
and given the injuries, but just on those injuries, we've seen arguably the best season of his career from Will Barton. I think he's been unbelievable.
Yeah, the thrill's been crazy this season.
His shooting splits haven't been phenomenal, but actually watching the game, he's been that. I always talk about this with KD being the best momentum changing player just about of all time.
You mean Chris Dunn, right?
But
The real KD.
cannot have a serious conversation still. But Will Barton's been hitting the big time shots. I mentioned before, I watched Denver Milwaukee yesterday, and Will Barton just hits those big shots. I feel like whenever another team's on a run, or your team's come back into the game, and you're down by 1 or 2 possessions, but you just can't get it that little bit closer where it's, if the other team doesn't score and you score, then you've got the lead. I feel like he's really been that guy for Denver that's been hitting those shots.
Barton and Jokic are probably the closest thing they have to closers right now. We could.
Well, Jamal Murray's probably not there yet, and that's been my biggest knock on why Denver can't go all the way, is they just don't have a closer. But Barton has really stepped up.
They also don't have a significant perimeter scoring wing threat. right now.
They all, but that's the thing.
All of those
there's no,
threats
there's no,
injured.
but and also that like they have no volume perimeter scoring threat, but they've got guys like Grant, Morris, even MPJ pops up. Like they made 22 threes yesterday against Milwaukee. It was a season record for them. But like their whole team is just really good.
The depth is crazy. I don't think any other team in the league could lose 60% of their starting lineup and still play at this level.
Well, and still be second in the West.
And beat Milwaukee. Like there was no issues for Milwaukee that game.
Landing in Milwaukee. Well, George Hill and DiVincenzo are out, but they're obviously not as big names as Jamal Murray and Millsap. But as I've said, like crazy hard fixture. Keep winning games. Like they slip up here and there, but every team is slipping up here and there this year. And especially with their injuries, I feel like not overachieving because, in my opinion, Denver are really good. And I think an underrated aspect in terms of this not having a closer is we are seeing the rise of MPJ. And I think he could, like, maybe not this year, but he could get there. Like, he's insanely good. Like, his stats for the season are, not notable, but, like the last 10 or 15 games, like, this guy's ridiculous.
Yeah, and another thing that MPJ has probably been struggling with as well, he's been struggling with injury pretty much his whole career up to this point.
Yeah. His entire family.
Well, thankfully,
his sister's had
essentially chronic related issues.
His sister, I think, had to have 5 ACL reconstructions.
Yeah. But the good news is for him is
his brothers had to have 2 knee done,
and that's why he can't play it anymore. But at least for Michael Porter Jr., he's had no back-related... I mean, he had that one game where it tightened up and he didn't end up playing. Like, apart from that, he's had... Like, he's missed a few here and there because of niggles, and I think they're just being really cautious with him, which is really good.
No, it's probably how they should... If they're in that sort of situation where they're the
there's no
second-best
need.
team in the league, there's no need to rush him.
But what I'm saying is he's had no, like, actual injuries related to the big injury he had, which made him miss college.
Essentially,
yeah. So that's been really good, and I think like now we're seeing his minutes slowly build up, and I do really believe because this guy's 6'10", he moves like he doesn't remind me of KD in the way he plays, but it's more how he moves.
Yeah, he doesn't.
You get what I mean? Like that explosive first step.
Yeah,
he's got that.
He doesn't have like KD's refined handle. Like he probably wouldn't be breaking down a defender off the dribble and then just popping.
No,
I mean he's in his first season though, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
it's effectively his first season.
But that's what I mean. Like I really think he can become that closer for them in the next season and a bit.
He's got that. So I feel like NBA closers, they kind of fall into similar categories and types of the games that they play.
Yeah.
The type of play style
they
that
are.
have.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
and
you.
I think Michael Porter Jr. is one of those guys where his play style is particularly well suited to being a closer once he develops more.
Well, he's unguardable, essentially. Like when you're 6'10" with that length and like you can actually shoot the basketball
at the rate that he can.
Yeah, well, I think he's... I said it to Kaz the other day because we picked him up in fantasy and we don't want to be, giving it off to everyone else in the comp, but, like, he could be special, this guy. Like, I enjoy watching Denver. I think they're really good to watch. But, like, particularly, I think, if he becomes that closer, like, with that mentality, which I think he has, like... I feel like he truly walks on the court and thinks there's not many better guys than me in the league. Like, and that's now. Like, I just really think in a year or two's time, especially if Jamal's healthy, I think the Nuggets will be, like, they're already in a super good position. That, like, their depth's unmatched. Like, they seem to pick up young guys with, pick 35 in the draft, and then it's...
Yeah, whoever's in their scouting department, they need to raise...
Shout-outs. Well, they got Bol too.
Yeah,
and obviously he hasn't played or whatever, but...
Yeah, but they're in a position where they can take these kind of gambles. They were probably one of the few teams in that
who
draft
would have
region
gambled on MPJ.
Who can afford to gamble on MPJ.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's paying, and I think it will pay dividends. But yeah, definitely my winner of late because, hugely crippled with injury, and I don't think there's another team in the West particularly, especially up top, that could like have these injuries. Like I'm talking 2 fairly good starters. Like Jamal Murray's a tier 20-point per game kind of guy, and we all know how good Millsap is on both ends. I just don't think there's a team that could sustain these injuries and continue to perform at the level that Denver are and be, challenging for that 1 seed.
Another thing about Denver is that, they've said it before, that their culture is that it's not like in the first month they were defending Jokic, saying like he's not, our system isn't that he has to get, obviously he does for them to win, he has to get 24 a game or 30 a game for us to win. Yeah, it's that everyone can step up. He does look, that's obviously because he does.
I get what you mean. He does put up good stats, but it's irrelevant to
everyone steps up.
Yeah, there is no relationship really between Jokic putting up a good stat line and then winning games.
Yeah, they can win with it's.
Like they're not dependent. We have this
like
discussion
the opposite
all
of
the
the
time.
Rockets. Yeah,
it's like the opposite of Kaz and I always.
Spursian.
Yeah, well, we always have this discussion where if you're reliant on a single player, like we basically call it a single player system. Like you've got Harden in Houston, which is becoming less and less, thankfully for the Rockets. Russ has changed his game.
I don't know about thankfully. They're not winning too many games right now.
Well,
it's a good thing for the future.
Recently, I think they'll turn a corner. But like we always have it with LeBron. Like it's a LeBron system. They play well when he plays well, which is fairly often. And we've said like he'll rarely have a bad game.
If there's one game where you want to have that single player system for, it's LeBron.
Yeah, but then we're having this where I always tell you, give me a team system where you've got really good players who can just be integrated into that system. And I think Denver really is one of those teams.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why. But having Jokic at the core of it is really good because like he can do everything. Like can pass the ball.
Even if he's having an off-scoring game, he still adds value as a rebounder and a passer.
And as we were saying earlier, the man is clutch.
Yeah, he is. He's hit the most game winners. I believe it's the last 3 seasons. I believe.
And I don't know how he managed to get those to go as well. Like. He'll just be like, oh, I've been pushed like 5 meters out of my spot, and then he'll just...
Yeah, if you look at most of them, it's like a 26-footer fadeaway over Joel Embiid, and it's like, how? And it's like just rainbows in, like, every single time. Like, this guy's... I don't think he gets enough credit.
He's got such an awkward-looking shooting stroke as well. Like, you see him shoot, and you're just like, eh?
But his arc is so nice.
Yeah. Especially early in the season, they weren't... Like, he wasn't getting his usual numbers and everything. He was still hitting game winners.
Yeah, that's
even when his shot isn't falling, he's somehow getting...
I think that's why I really like Jokic in Denver, because it's not about that. Like, Jokic could not average a triple-double, but, like, he could get a triple-double every, second or third game if he
was trying to.
Yeah, if he was trying to.
Because he can find guys, like, not just at the three-point line, like Russ or something. He gets them cutting.
He's an
perfect spot.
Absurd passer of the ball, this man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's why, as we said, he could, if he wants to, get those stats, but he doesn't care rather than win games, and I think that's really good. And that's why I've got Denver as the winner for now, and... I mean, I had Houston winning the West at the start of the year, and obviously that's been shambolic the last month. They were pretty good at the start, actually. But I think they'll still turn a corner, but I don't think they'll end up winning the West. But I think Denver, just on consistency, probably will.
Win the West?
As in finish first. But then, I don't think they can be...
Contender or pretender?
I don't think they're getting over the... I think
the
Lakers...
I don't think they can win the the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I will say I think
they can make it.
There's a fair chance because, like you said, there's none of that dependence on one guy. But at the same time, for example, the Lakers is stopping Nikola Jokic?
Yeah.
Like Anthony Davis is not stopping Nikola Jokic.
Okay, but then,
nobody is, man.
Who on the Nuggets is stopping Anthony Davis?
They don't need to. That's the thing. Like. Because everyone is putting up numbers. Because,
I get what Prads mean. You
let Anthony Davis and LeBron James get, 20, 30 a game. Sure, that's 60 points.
Well, we've seen this multiple times now where where AD and LeBron combine for 60 and the Lakers lose the game.
That just happened. Yeah. They dropped 59 together and lost to the Blazers.
And even Kuzma had a really absurdly good game for him. We had 15 rebounds.
For Kyle Kuzma, yeah.
And at the same time, like I said, Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, Kentavious Caldwell, none of those guys will get going because at the end of the day, Jamal Murray, even if his offense isn't always
still going to get you 18, 20.
And he's a solid defender. He's not amazing. He's not going to stop Damian Lillard. But he will.
He doesn't have to because there is no guard to worry about. And this is what I don't necessarily agree with Prad that Denver can and will win the West.
Don't
but
think
this is where I'm saying like they can definitely challenge because there is no sole player they depend. Like they depend on Jokic to be good. Yeah, that's fine. But they don't depend on Jokic to be like insanely good, like the Lakers depend on AD and LeBron to be insanely good.
Yeah, but the thing is, with a team, or as we see in the playoffs every single year, the team with the two best players generally
do really well. Yeah.
And I don't think the Nuggets have at least...
Well, they just need a closer. Like, they need an elite closer.
Not just a closer. I think they all... See, if you're
I reckon they really need Jamal Murray to be at another level.
Sure, but if you're trying to compete with teams like the Lakers or the Clippers, you need at least a top 5 player. When was the last time a team without a top 5 player won the championship? Was it what? The Detroit... The Pistons?
San Antonio? They're it. That's literally it.
At the time, Kawhi Leonard was not top 5.
Neither was Timmy.
The Pistons and, probably the Spurs.
But that's system ball.
Yeah, okay. But then you've got Greg Popovich's system.
Well, Denver are really good.
With that level of role player.
No, I get what you mean. It's very rare. But I think that the point is as well that they're definitely talented enough and capable enough of beating any team in the West. Like, if everything goes well, they can definitely...
I feel like
but I don't know about a 7-game series.
No, but that's what I agree with you that they probably won't.
Very similar to, I guess, the LeBron's first season in Miami. Obviously, the first season Miami didn't start well. Lakers started amazing this season, but you've got Nikola Jokic is he's a big guy who's...
Wait, so Denver remind you of LeBron's first season in Miami?
No, Denver remind me of when they faced up against the
San
Mavericks.
Antonio. Oh, the Mavs. Okay, right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, the
yeah.
Was Dirk a top 5 player?
I mean, he won Finals MVP. He was pretty good.
He won MVP.
He was almost 50, 40, 90, if I recall.
I mean, Nikola Jokic...
He won MVP pretty close to when they won the
I
chip as
do
well,
get what Prad means, but...
Dirk was a top 5 player back then.
Yeah, the odds of probability, though, are you do need a top 5 player to win. But there has also been exceptions where if your team's really good and your team plays really good team basketball, you can win. And I think that's Denver. As I said, they do need a closer.
Yeah, and I don't think Denver are on that level.
The other thing is
at least not yet.
We know that the Lakers are trying to make moves, whereas
Denver are sitting.
Yeah, they're going to sit. So,
but also at the same time, Denver have imagine by the end of the year, if Denver are fully healthy, if we've got Millsap and Jamal Murray in that lineup, right? For say, give them 15 games going into playoffs without any big injuries. I'm talking the boys that are going to play 20, 30 minutes a night. If they're going in like that, I reckon they can be firing and they can do damage.
They can do damage, for sure.
I wouldn't be... I don't think it will happen, but I would not be surprised if they eliminate a
good team. Yeah.
And an LA team. I wouldn't be surprised if
they do it. The difficulty, I suppose, and I'm going to dive into this one more time, is that if there's a lot of players on the Nuggets who they'll have good nights shooting and they'll have bad nights shooting. And if they have one of those bad nights and they try to play on the inside, it's pretty hard to score on the Lakers on the inside.
Yep.
But Jokic is good enough.
Jokic is good enough. Jokic is definitely good enough. But Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Monte Morris, any of those guys will have a difficult time scoring on even JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis,
Dwight Howard,
and LeBron James at times.
Yeah, LeBron switches down.
Yeah. So it's that's where that matchup in particular seems difficult for me. But I guess first things first, the Lakers have to make it to the second round or the third round or whatever.
And so did Denver, yeah.
Clippers could stop them there, so...
They could stop the Clippers.
Well, that's right. The Western Finals are going to be insanely good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hopefully Milwaukee Cakewalk to the finals.
I did want to mention a major runner-up for winner of the week because Kyrie MF Irving dropped... Oh my goodness! 55
how many weeks ago were we absolutely rinsing this man?
Yeah, we've got the Beancast blessing where if we talk shit about a player, they just go for next week.
Damn, I hate Giannis. He's no good.
That Kemba Walker guy's a scrub.
Yeah.
If you want to keep saying that, go ahead because it's on my fantasy team.
All right, yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, he dropped 55 and 5 on 19 of 23 shooting. 7 of 9 from the 3-point line, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. He ended with 98.5 true shooting percentage.
I did actually see it was it's the single most efficient 50-point game since MJ in '89. Don't hold me to that, but around then, which was 80.
I thought it was most in highest in NBA history.
Highest ever, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. But the most like it beat like MJ was
Yeah,
last.
yeah.
Like,
MJ was
you
last
get what
one,
I'm saying.
right?
Yeah, it was like 87.5, 87.6. Some stupid percentage from the field, but
then you've got Flat Mamba doing this.
Yeah,
he just gave him the business.
But we've known he's always been capable of.
I mean, yeah, he did the same
scoring.
something very similar against San Antonio when he was on the Cavs. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he just kept on hitting
And
every fadeaway 3 somehow.
Well, they've won 3 in a row now, Brooklyn. And I think that's really big for them just to
Get
start
that momentum.
winning. Well, they had that streak where they lost 5 or 6 in a row.
They're a very streaky team.
Well, they are, but they also need to not be that. You need to just as we've said, you need to just win games. You can't just rely on oh yeah, we'll get hot. We'll win 5 games in a row. It's fine. We can afford to lose one or 2.
It's what we did, the Celtics.
Yeah,
I guess
last season.
You do say that, but as well as that, they do have to make sure they don't get complacent. But at the same time, they're missing KD.
Yeah,
exactly.
But their team's still good enough. They should be. I think they're a better team than Indiana, even without KD. They should be right there, and they're not.
Good. They're a really good roster.
I mean, you've still got Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen.
I did want to mention Karis LeVert.
Well, he's back.
He's been very similar to last season, where he started the season super hot.
Gets a little injury and then not as good.
I guess it wasn't a little injury last season.
That was bad last season.
But then, he comes back, and he has not been good. I mean, he's getting averages of 8 points a game since he's returned. And
the problem, I think, with Brooklyn is that they remind me of the Celtics in the last few years, where they almost have too many players that they need to be playing, if that makes sense.
I get that, but you could say the same thing about the team you just mentioned, Indiana, and
or
they're still pulling it off.
Or the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What's going on with the whole management?
I think it's a bit of an ego thing.
Yeah, definitely. Agree.
Yeah, I mean,
think it's a bit of an ego thing.
Ego and spotlight, which is, I guess, somewhat Kyrie's fault.
And possibly coaching as well.
Coaching, I mean, they had the same coach as last season.
Yeah, and they were fine last year.
They were, I think that's the thing. They were, it's similar to the Clippers. We discussed it on the first episode, but they were dogs last season. They went hard at everyone.
They scrapped.
And this season,
they seem like they had the best team culture in the NBA that season.
Yeah. And Kyrie just doesn't really seem to be that guy
that can fit that mold.
Yeah. I mean, at least he's showing up now on the scoreboard. He's finally said, stuff it. I'm
Kyrie
Irving. We're winning the game. Do more of this, please.
The thing I fully expect, though,
is why they got you.
They're probably going to lose one game, and he'll say the same thing again. Guys, I've just dropped 50 points, and I need you guys to step up, and you guys should get traded.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst way to go about motivating a team.
But that's sort of what he does. But that's what he does. Yeah, that's the downside.
But yeah, for this week at least, he's definitely the winner. At least a runner-up.
Yeah, he's been...
that was a ridiculous... And I feel there's no better player in the NBA to watch when they're flowing than Kyrie. He does stuff that no one else can do.
Steph.
No, I disagree.
You reckon?
Damn. So Steph is fun to watch for the fact of
out of your seat.
Yeah. When you see that,
what you mean.
When you see those numbers where he's spinning between 2 Milwaukee Bucks, there's no space at all.
Steph doesn't do stuff like that.
Aesthetically, probably the best to watch.
Because I've never seen a handle like Kyrie with a jump shot like Kyrie's.
Yeah. Well,
no, okay. So Steph's got.
I reckon you're almost underselling Steph and Dame there. But
no. Okay.
I get what you mean. He's probably the best at it.
Dame does not have Kyrie's handle.
Oh no, but I get what you mean.
So my point is, Kyrie's also got a flashy handle. He plays exactly like one of those old New York street ballers. But he's got a jump shot.
Got the string on.
Plays like that
that's
Uncle
the thing.
Drew guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Gilbert Arenas mentioned this earlier, where New York point guards typically haven't had the greatest jump shots because they grew up playing outside, where there's a lot of wind. It's kind of hard to develop a jump shot when shooting is probably not the best thing to do when you're playing pickup basketball outside. think you,
Somehow.
I think you can confirm that, right? So yeah, they've typically been very aggressive at attacking the rim. Kyrie can do that, but then he's also got a jump shot.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the aesthetic value of his play style.
I wouldn't mind him doing this more often in terms of like just shutting his mouth and leading the team on the court in terms of output. Like just put up. Man, you're the superstar. You put up the big numbers and win your team games.
You keep telling us you're the superstar.
Yeah,
too.
The reason that like the narrative about Kyrie has changed over the last few seasons is just because he says so many unnecessary things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying shut up and dribble like what that one reporter said to LeBron.
Yeah, no. But the same thing. Like, just know your, like, do you. Like, win your team the games.
Yeah.
Like, you're the superstar. Win the team the games.
And shut up and dribble was about something different. Where shut up and dribble was about LeBron talking about social issues.
Yeah, exactly.
We are specifically talking about Kyrie.
Like, your role in this organization.
Being a distraction by being a dick to your team.
The external things we don't need. Like, just win your team games, whether you drop 40 or 10, win your team games. That's all we're asking.
All right, well, I think that's good. But who have you got for your loser of the week, Bill?
Loser was tough because I feel like most teams that could have been loser, there's sort of an excuse for. Like, obviously the Hawks are terrible. Golden State, we know.
Hawks could just be the loser of the season.
They will be. Obviously, we already had as a loser, and they're still losing. I was going to have Sacramento, but then they sort of turned a corner, won a few games.
They made a decision where they brought Buddy Hield off the bench.
And that's what I don't mind. They're at least changing things. But ultimately, this was really hard because their schedule has been tough in terms of opponents. But the Orlando Magic have now lost 5 in a row. I think it's 6 in a row after today.
What are they playing today?
They've already lost today. They lost to the Miami Heat after leading early. They
so that's
actually gave them a fair run early. I thought they might have
pulled it out.
Yeah, but like their schedule's been really hard. But at the same time, when you're fighting for they haven't been. This is my whole problem. Why they're the loser? They're just not fighting for that playoff spot again. Like I think they were 6th, and then now they've slipped to 8th, and they're only, I think, 3 or 4 games ahead of the Bulls and the Wizards. And if you ask me, like personally, the Orlando Magic are a 10-15 win team better than the Bulls or the Wizards. It's just that simple. And I just don't think that they've fought enough. Like they're a good enough team. I don't care what teams they play. Like you can have 5 games in a row against.
Yeah, you can't lose all 5 games.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you can play Milwaukee, the Lakers, Denver, the Clippers, Miami, all in a row. But like you're still an NBA team. You still should be like, especially if you're in the playoffs. You can't not think you're good enough to at least pinch 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean for someone like the Hawks, this would be almost expected. But considering the Magic are like the 8th seed right now.
Well, they've got some good players there too.
And to be fair, this is probably a bit of an indictment on the East that the Magic are an 8th seed because they're sitting at 21 and 27
But that's the thing, before that, 5 games
21,
stretch.
28 now, right?
Well, they were 50-50 before that.
And that's the thing, exactly. They were 50 and 50, and they would have like been worthy of a playoff.
I think they were 6, and then Philly started to slide. But now, luckily for Philly, Orlando started to slide. But yeah, their last 5,
Been very poor.
the losses, like as I said, yeah, their schedule's been hard. Like it's been here we go, Oklahoma, but at home, like that's
a winnable game.
Oklahoma are the same like team in terms of they're fighting for their lives as well for a playoff spot. Like you've got them at home, yeah, and I mean like Oklahoma. Yeah, obviously beat them. Then they have Boston. Like, they had 3 home games in a row. OKC, Boston, the Clippers. They lost every single one of them. If you're fighting for playoffs, like, you got to win one of them. And then, obviously, they went to Miami and lost. That's fair. Miami probably top 3 home side in the league. And then Miami at home today, they've lost. But, like, that's...
Those are reset. Those are...
But even before that, it was sort of like win-loss.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the past few, it's like 2 wins, 2 losses.
I would just like to see them fight more.
Yeah, over the past month, they've actually not played all that well.
This was my
That's
big
been
thing.
their entire MO for the season.
When they beat the Lakers and Fultz had that triple-double, I thought, holy shit, like, Orlando were going to, like, they would climb in. This was when Philly was slipping.
Yeah.
Orlando were sort of in that
was in a
sixth
period
seed.
where they were 4-1 in the
and then beat the Lakers. I thought, well, this is it. I wasn't expecting big things from them. They were never gonna, be a home seeded playoff team. But I thought at least that'll kickstart them. They're definitely gonna be in playoffs. Like they can lock down that 6 seed. They can lock down that 7 seed. Like they can challenge Indiana for that lower 5, 6 seed, even 7. But then now, they seem to have just fallen off.
It's very they've just fallen off a cliff. But to be fair,
they haven't really been blown out. They've not been on the right side of winning.
A lot of teams they do go through these stretches. Probably not for 5 games, but it's pretty common to lose 2 or 3 games in a row during a season, an 82-game season.
But if
they can definitely turn it around, but it's just. Their current losing skid is enough to name them.
I just don't think any other playoff teams playing 3 home games in a row and losing every single one of them.
To me, it's like a no drama version of the Brooklyn Nets almost, because last season
they don't have any expectations.
But there's no expectations on Orlando, but at the same time, they're more than good enough to be comfortably in the playoffs.
I mean, that's the thing. They made the playoffs pretty
they pinched a game off Milwaukee.
Yeah, they made the playoffs last season. So if anything, as a team,
they
without
should be
losing
better.
anything,
they should be
better.
They got
Exactly.
Fultz, and Fultz is coming along. I really thought after that Lakers performance that they would well and truly flip the switch and be far better, but they just haven't been. So definitely my loser for the week. In terms of runner-up, I don't really have a runner-up loser of the week.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I
it's
don't
a
know
minor thing, but
Friday's thought of anyone, maybe.
I wanted to just bring up that the loss for the Bulls against the Pacers.
Okay.
The Bulls are.
Well,
I don't know why,
but they're actually fighting for playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing it,
Somehow.
but they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Don't know how either. But shout out Brew Low, he'll be a happy man. Somehow you can be 19-32 and fighting for playoffs. Apparently,
yeah, that's the thing. They're fighting for
That's
a playoff
how good
spot,
the East is.
and then they just got absolutely screwed over at the last play of the game of regulation against the Pacers. Zach LaVine is driving in. He's about to either hit a layup or he's about to hit a layup. He clearly gets fouled. Oladipo pulls his arm back. There's no call. They go down the other side. It goes into overtime. And
I'm pretty sure that was an intentional foul too.
Yeah,
from Oladipo.
I guess he was trying to just
As
stop.
in to put Zach LaVine at the line, not.
I don't know why you would do that because they were tied.
Yeah.
The game was tied. If he intentionally fouls him, that's game.
We really are
maybe.
there is only 30 games left in this season already, and we really just are that point where they're all going to count now.
Yep.
They matter at the start of the year, but once you know your record and where you're standing, they really do all count, and that's why
It'll
so
be interesting
hard.
to see how certain teams approach the season from this point onwards. Say for example the Lakers.
Yeah, well, I said already they've been going too hard. They seem to be so obsessed with we got Anthony Davis, we got LeBron James, we bring in all these role players. We have to be the 1 seed.
I think for the Lakers in particular, if they had not come in with that attitude, there would have been so much drama in LA.
You reckon?
Yeah,
There would have been so much drama
Brad.
in LA.
I'm with Brad.
But would you rather be the Clippers or the Lakers right now in terms of the Clippers? That there doesn't seem to be this external pressure.
Okay.
To win a
But
title.
see, that's the thing, right? The Clippers, they just naturally don't have as much expectation on them as LA do.
Milwaukee are the same.
Yeah, exactly. Just because of the team that they are, they're not the Lakers. They don't have the history of winning that the Lakers do. They don't have the same fan base that the Lakers do.
You think
they don't even have the
that,
same media pressure that the Lakers do.
But you think because of that's why they can't essentially not take it easy, but not
so
much about that.
So not just that, right? So again, with the Clippers, they've had a lot of injuries. The Lakers have been mostly healthy for the whole season, at least with regards to their core.
Yeah, I agree. AD's missed maybe 10 games.
Yeah, you wouldn't have. So you wouldn't have that. So you don't have that expectation where every game that LeBron and AD play, they've got to win.
But that's
pretty
what
much.
it feels like.
The Clippers don't really have that because Kawhi or Paul George has missed.
Yeah, but I
games.
feel like internally the Lakers players feel like that. They have to win every single game.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that though.
No, but
okay.
like
See,
AD and LeBron are playing a lot of minutes.
The main concern is that LeBron's old and he's playing a shit ton.
Well, yeah, this was like we had this joke in our chat the other day. I was like, Kawhi's playing 30. I said PG and Kawhi are playing a game every 3 days and drinking pina coladas during the week, and AD and LeBron are playing 35, 36 minutes a week, a game, not a week. Just to win games, and they're only 3 games clear.
Yeah, but this is why I think it'll be interesting to see how they approach the rest of the season. They might just go, look, we've done the hard yards now.
Yeah,
we've got a good record.
Like, let's take 55 wins, 60 wins.
Now maybe we can go from 6th gear to maybe 5th gear.
Yeah, I agree. I've said it all year. Like, every time I watch the games they're winning, they seem to be up 15-20, and for some reason, like, LeBron or AD's in the game with 5 minutes to go.
But the thing is, the Lakers bench isn't good enough to hold those leads. But that's a completely different point. But my whole thing is that I agree with Pratt, actually. I think their current approach is fueled by their expectations. They're supposed to be a great team, and you can see how expectations can affect a team's culture.
Yeah.
When they've got massive expectations and they feel like they're not living up to it, the team culture, the locker room culture goes bad, and then you're just in a vicious cycle of you're not winning because
I think that
your culture's not good because you're not winning, but then you're not winning because your culture's not good.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that'll sort of be their undoing at the same time. Is where come playoffs, like
if they don't get to their goal, then
or if they slip, like if they go down like 2-0 against like anybody, like there's a few teams more than capable of like winning just. Of beating them in a series, let alone like going up 2-0. Like the Clippers, Houston, Denver, whatever. The list goes on and on in the West. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that could be the undoing. Like, once you've got all that external pressure, like, it's so hard to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, especially once you're down. Like, I don't know. And that's why I would prefer them for them to just not take a back seat, but just ease off a bit. Like, you don't have to win every game. It's good to win every game, but you don't have to win every game. You don't have to play AD and LeBron like high 30s every single night just to win a game. Like Kawhi and PG going to be healthy as going into the playoffs, fresh legs. I'd much rather the Lakers be doing not to the extent the Clippers are, but like to a
but sorry, continue.
Just to finish off the topic though, but the Clippers have much more talent around.
They do.
Either Kawhi or Paul George if either of them sits.
Correct, but this once again goes back to why have you only built a roster that's optimized around LeBron James? And me and Kaz have this discussion all the time. Create something else where it does not it'll matter if he's on the bench or if he doesn't play. Yeah, that's fine, but not to like the degree that it does now for the Lakers.
Fair enough, but then if you're looking at the Clippers as a comparison,
they're a complete opposite.
They're not
a complete opposite.
See, the thing with the Clippers is they managed to get Lou Williams on the cheap. They've got Montrezl Harrell not taking up too much cap space. Those are their 2 big bench guys.
Yeah.
And they're huge.
Yeah, but
Pat Bev doesn't cost too much money. And then they've got Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah, but alright, the Lakers paid Danny Green $15 million a year. That's their own fault.
Yeah, but then if they didn't pay Danny Green $15 million a year, he's probably going somewhere else.
But it doesn't matter.
Where they're going to pay him $15 million a year, but then they don't have Danny Green.
Well, but once again, it comes back to that whole thing. You need to create something where, as we said about Denver before, create something where you don't rely solely on one player to be a great team. And I think Golden State exemplified that.
Yeah, but
in that 5-year period.
Okay, sure, but I think that the ability to implement...
Oh, it's hard. It's really hard.
No, not just that. I feel like the ability to implement a team system depends a lot on the talent of the players you already have.
Yeah.
The Lakers have a lot of role players, and then they've got LeBron and AD.
Well, it's a perfect LeBron team. We've said it countless times.
But then they're not going to be implementing a team system with the way this team is built.
Yeah, and that's why it's really hard to do it. But yeah. Anyways,
that conversation started on the Chicago Bulls, but good thing we've got to shout out the Lakers.
Shows how irrelevant they are. Sorry, boys.
Sorry, Roo.
No, they might pinch the 8th seed. I think it would be terrible if they do, because I just don't think they're actually good enough to be in the playoffs.
They're going to get
I would
spread open by the Bucks.
Yeah, I'd much prefer.
If they do, then Zach will lead MVP next year. Don't worry.
I'd much prefer, the Magic to hold on. But all right.
All right. Well, with that, that's close to the end of the show. We do have our predictions for the middle of the week, game for the week.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what this game is because Brad never tells us.
So for this week, it's going to be a game on Tuesday. It's
Tuesday for us?
Yeah, that's it. It's Wednesday for us.
America, yeah, okay.
We've got the Portland Trailblazers at the Denver Nuggets.
Oh boy.
Jamal Murray's availability is up in the air. He's still.
I don't think it matters.
And obviously, I wanted to give a shout out to this, so I'm glad we got to talk about it. Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar, dropping like 45 points per game over the last week.
48.4.
Like
unbelievable. And what's his true shooting percentage is sitting at something ridiculous.
300.
Yeah, he's going at 5 and 5 as well, isn't he?
He's so sad. Something like he's 37 of 84 from beyond 30 feet.
Yeah, and just watching the games, this dude is taking over.
He's a flat out killer.
He's unbelievable.
He so quickly puts the game out of reach.
I wish Denver gave this man a good team because.
Hey, I saw the craziest.
Sorry, I've been talking about Denver
I saw the
today.
craziest Dame Lillard stat yesterday. He is shooting 44% from beyond 30.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's absurd. And
I think he's already got the record for 3-pointers made from that range as well.
Yeah.
And he's got the record now for the most made in a 5-game span. So he beats Steph's record. Good on him. Amazing. Well deserved. I think he's been like just about easily the most underrated, underappreciated player in the last decade that I can think of.
Dame's currently going on like a...
Well, he's finally going to get these first NBA recognition.
Oh, he has to.
Well, because we've had so many good guards, like MVP level, and fortunately for those guys, they've had the team to be good enough to be an MVP and win enough games in a season. And Dame just hasn't had that. And now, like, he really is taking the approach that, as we said before, Kyrie should be taking, like, get on my back.
He's always games. Like, if you look at his social media, he's like, all right, just stay focused on the game every single time.
Yeah.
So it's great to see, and like somehow CJ has started to pick it up as well. Hassan Whiteside has been big, dropped 30 points last game.
Hassan Whiteside in a contract year is something else. Man.
Oh man,
he's such a weird player. Like he's one of those guys where I like watch the game and I'm like, oh, like what? He had 20 and 10 and 5 blocks. I didn't notice, but then other games he'll have like a small stat line, and I'll be like, wow, he was really good today. Like,
a while back there was like people. I think Shaq and Charles were talking crap about him, saying
he should be dominating.
Yeah, and then he still puts up those big numbers, but it's like he plays in that weird way where he's so athletic that he's always going to get a rebound and always going to get a double-double.
Yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily mean he's playing well.
It doesn't equal impact.
Exactly. I feel like there's a little bit of Andrew Wiggins about his game.
Yeah.
Where I think he just doesn't really care until his bank account's affected.
But that's the thing.
So
Andrew Wiggins didn't care anyway.
Yeah.
Well, he got paid first and then doesn't care.
Yeah.
So it's different. But just on Dame and that, I'm glad that they pulled the trigger on a trade to get Ariza over.
Yes,
like some more defense. Like he's been sort of up and down in his first, I think it's 4 games now. Like two pretty good games, 2 pretty average games. So that's
at least offensively, but he's a consistently good defender.
He had 5 steals against LeBron. That was key because LeBron just
and he defended him pretty well too. LeBron was pretty poor from the field, but like circumstantial, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, and LeBron was struggling with turnovers.
Yeah. But I think just for that, like it's really good for Dame. Like this guy should be in the playoffs every bloody year. Like he's that good, and I just really hope Denver do something. Why do I keep saying Denver? What the hell?
I've been talking about Denver.
Denver. I need to get out of my system. I really hope that Portland do something for this guy because, like, obviously they had the Zach Collins injury at the start of the year. CJ's missed a few. They bring in Whiteside, big adjustment. No Nurk. Yeah, no Nurk. But like the caliber of players like Portland have, they need to be in the playoffs. Like Dame Lillard needs to be in the playoffs.
If they do make the playoffs again this year, I'll be interested to see how Dame deals with double teams off screens. Because he's struggled with that the past couple of years.
Well, at least Portland, like, have the threats now. Like, I think Ariza's still a good enough threat from
And
outside.
like,
Malo's still a good enough isolated threat, and CJ's obviously a good enough threat.
And Hassan Whiteside is just such a massive lob threat. It's like, it just opens things up for Dame Lillard on the inside. Like, Yusuf Nurkic, you chuck it to him down there, he'll create.
Yeah.
But, you, like, Hassan Whiteside...
He's a big man.
You can be on the inside and,
You
like,
get
have,
dunked on.
have Hassan Whiteside on the inside, and it's still open for Dame Lillard.
I think, though, the biggest issue there with Melo, especially, is that how much can you play him in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, that's
With
the thing.
How he is
I would
defensively.
say, like that's the thing. When you bring in the bench unit, if you have Melo with that, then, like, because most bench units aren't going to be great defensively.
No.
So he'll at least be able to hold up the offense in that scenario.
Yeah.
I think he can't continue starting if they get into playoffs.
Yeah, he can't run with the starters. He's just...
Which is a good thing for them getting Trevor Ariza and him getting to start the last few, because Melo has obviously not traveled with the team while he
they played well with the Ariza playing too.
Ariza's really underrated. Like, he's not going to be huge. Like,
he's just good wherever he goes.
But, like, he's one of those guys that will very rarely have a bad night for his role.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that, like, Houston genuinely missed this guy last year. Like, genuinely.
Him and Mbamute.
All right. Well, given all of those factors, who do you guys take for Portland versus Denver?
Where is it?
It's at Denver.
Yeah, Denver.
Yeah.
Denver is just something else.
Denver have a huge home court.
Can I take Denver and Dame 45 plus?
Both the predictions, so you get 2-0.
Like, it's
Hey, that's legal here too.
it's crazy that he's able to do this and they're not a lock to win every game. Like, because it's different. Like, when Harden's putting up 40, like... No, I'm not talking like in recent games. I'm talking even earlier in the season. He's putting up 40, but then we're still having that. It's so many shots, how many turnovers, blah blah. There's a lot of factors that equal why the other team can still win the game. Whereas Dame, it's like he's dropping 50 on 20 shots. Like, how can they lose still?
See, the thing with Harden does that too. To be fair.
But I'm saying it seems to be every game at the moment for Dames like that.
And also, and I think we're kind of just desensitized to how good Harden is at scoring the basketball.
Yeah.
I'm going to swerve on you guys. I'm as usual.
You're taking Portland?
I'm taking Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I just think Denver are so good.
I mean,
and I think playing at Denver is a huge factor because they've got the altitude. Yeah. It's huge across sports for them.
At the same time, I think Lillard is going to have such an easy time scoring against Denver because... they're very good defensively, but like there's no one on. We've seen it in the past. There's no one on Denver who can stop Damian Lillard. We've seen it in the playoffs.
Anywhere that can stop. Damian
maybe
Lillard.
Gary Harris.
No, but that like even we saw it in the. It was
Alright, my whole thing with this is like it seems to be at the moment for the Blazers to win, like Dame has to go bananas, and I think what Kaz said, like you're not going to stop Dame, but Gary Harris might be able to limit Dame enough that. And I think Denver are just too good overall anyway. So
but that's the thing. I think
taking Denver.
Hassan Whiteside has picked up his play recently, and he's going to be.
I agree with everything.
I don't think Nikola Jokic or Mason Plumlee can handle Hassan Whiteside as athletic as he is. I think Trevor Ariza is going to be massive for them. Whether Jamal Murray is back or not, he is going to be shutting down whoever. Like, not shutting down, but playing very good defense.
Underrated factor though. A lot of Hassan Whiteside's game depends on athleticism. How athletic or how much energy do you have to be athletic when you've got to guard a
Jokic is a bully.
Like Jokic down low.
He plays no defense, so it's great.
Jokic makes them though. He just posts up and starts banging into them.
All Hassan Whiteside does is he's super athletic, so he'll get up high and he'll block anyone trying to do a floater against him.
But Jokic is incredible at forcing the contact.
He'll force the contact and everything. It won't tire him out because he'll just be standing there and saying, I'm playing legal defense.
It's pretty tiring having a 300-pound Serbian
monster, 5-liter
trying to run you
Coca-Cola
over.
drinking machine. I agree with every point you've made, Praddy. Like Portland are pulling it together, but I think Denver are just incredible, and especially at home. And this run that they've just had now, where they've won like 3 or 4 in a row. They've just beaten the Bucks in exceptional circumstances. Like I know the Bucks just came back from Paris as well. That wouldn't have been easy, but Denver, no doubt, in a harder situation, harder schedule. I think that they'll just they'll come away all the better for that. And I really, as I said, I think they'll really hunt that 1 seed, and I think that it's just a win for them.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bill. And yeah, just given the fact that, for me, the biggest factor is that it's at Denver. I know that Portland are putting it together, but the Denver home court is crazy. And
something else,
Yeah, and I feel like just because it is, at the end of the day, it is a regular season game, I think Portland, even though they are fighting for the 8th seed, if they lose, they might not feel like it's
Denver are very rarely very poor as well, because they're not
got a very high floor as a team.
Yeah, they're very consistently good. I'm taking Denver. Kaz taking Denver. Paddy's got the Blazers, so
but I could see Portland winning.
Oh yeah, but we have to have these
balance of probabilities.
Balance of
Well, that's our show for the week. We will have an extra episode coming in.
Denver. I feel like I said Denver 100 times.
A couple more times, you got it out.
Shout out Denver though; they're a fucking good team.
We got to get that in. And thank you for listening. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the middle of the week.
Take care of yourselves. Hope you all have a good one.
And don't forget to eat some beans.